Aston Martin were the standout story of Formula 1 in 2023 as they catapulted themselves from 7th on the grid to 2nd at the start of the season. The hype surrounding Fernando Alonso, especially after his stunning podium in Bahrain, reached stratospheric levels. But as the season progressed, they fell just short of the promised performance and eventually fell by the wayside as Ferrari, Mercedes and McLaren developed their cars. Now though, they're getting excited for 2024 and could be the team to challenge Red Bull. Today, I'll talk about what the team is saying about their chances ahead of 2024, what the team will be focusing on to find performance, and what their chances of success next season are. So, don't go anywhere. After an F1 season is over, I like to go back and watch the extended highlights of each race to just enjoy it all over again. Watching the Bahrain Grand Prix again, I'd forgotten just how incredible the Aston Martins were at the first race of the season. Alonso was back to an intelligent best that we hadn't seen from him for years. Watching him outthink and outrace George Russell early on and then Lewis Hamilton was amazing. His pass at turn 10 on the 7-time world champion was particularly incredible. Then outbattling Carlos Sainz 11 laps from the end with a move into turn 11 was excellent. Let's not forget Lance Stroll either, who started the season well also, but things really went downhill for the team with their ineffectual upgrades in the summer. As those around them improved, Aston Martin stalled, and the drop in relative performance level left them unable to compete for podiums for much of the remainder of the season. That doesn't mean that there weren't positives to take from the season as a whole though. Obviously, going from 7th to 5th in the Constructors' Championship is a biggie, but there was more to be proud of. 8 podiums, the same as Mercedes, and 1 less than Ferrari and McLaren is an impressive tally. Less obvious are the standout achievements of certain team members. Andy Stevenson, the team's sporting director, earned his wage by earning the team extra points in both Saudi Arabia and Austria. In Jeddah, a post-race penalty demoted Alonso to P4, but armed with 7 examples of similar offences not incurring punishment, Stevenson successfully argued that precedent dictated it be rescinded. This reclaimed a podium finish and 3 more points. At the Red Bull Ring, Stevenson questioned why over 1,200 track limit violations had gone beneath the radar, prompting the stewards to investigate and apply post-race time penalties to a number of drivers, thus elevating Alonso from P6 to P5 for another 2 points gained. While 5 points may feel meagre in a sea of 280, Stevenson's encyclopedic knowledge of past penalties and how to fight for the team sets a tone for those around him. In another season, those 5 points could have proved decisive. Alonso's performances over the course of the season are something to celebrate as well. Yes, he is a 2-time World Drivers' Champion, but with only 1 podium since 2014 before the season began, people were right to question if he still had it. Finishing 4th in the Drivers' Championship and showing the performance level he did when Aston Martin had a competitive car proved that age is nothing to the seasoned Spaniard. But with the team struggling through the middle of the season and owner Lawrence Stroll's son Lance being rumoured to want to leave the sport, Aston Martin's continued existence in the sport came into question. In a recent interview with the New York Times, Lawrence clarified his position and commitment to the team. Despite his ownership now amounting to just over 25%, Stroll emphasised his long-term vision for Aston Martin. You don't go spending hundreds of millions of pounds, building the greatest new Formula 1 campus and hiring 400 of the greatest employees if you're about to leave the business, he told the newspaper. The new Aston Martin campus is incredible, and the team's video christening it by having Lance Stroll drive the AMR 23 down a hallway was excellent. This statement comes as a strong rebuttal to any suggestions that he's crafting an exit strategy. At 64, Stroll shows no signs of stepping back. "I'm not going anywhere," he declared. "I plan to run these businesses for many years. I'm at the beginning of the journey on both." Despite his son's relatively poor performance compared to his teammate, Lance Stroll really didn't have as bad a season as it might seem. Fernando Alonso even admitted he was impressed at Lance Stroll's determination to turn around his flagging Formula 1 fortunes in 2023. In the mid-part of the season, Stroll's form fell away, scoring just 12 points in the 10 races between Canada and the United States, before scoring a 7th-place finish in Austin. This brought around a late-season surge, including back-to-back 5th places in Brazil and Las Vegas, as he rallied to take 10th in the standings. Stroll was injured for the opening races of the season, with broken wrist sustained in a pre-season cycling accident, with his dip in form coinciding with the AMR 23 also losing competitiveness, with Alonso praising the Canadian for his mental toughness. We share many things that he's been through, some difficulties this year as the car was changing behaviour, and he was just struggling a little bit more than me. We then fixed a few things on the car and he's back to top form, and it was impressive to see his dedication and motivation in the highs and lows, such as in the beginning of the year with a broken hand. He was so determined to put things back in place again, and eventually he did after Mexico, in Brazil and Las Vegas. This was a surprise to me, to be honest, the level of commitment and the level of motivation that he has. So it's only good news and good things for the team. So, as you now know, despite a very disappointing mid-season, the Aston Martin team has a lot of positives to take away from 2023. Nonetheless, to be competitive in 2024 again, the team is going to have to improve. While their late-season resurgence was impressive, there's still work to be done if they want to refine their early 2023 form and compete with Red Bull when the season begins. There are theories as to why the team struggled so much through the mid-season though. It is believed Aston Martin was hurt from having an overly flexible front wing removed, while reverse engineering parts developed for 2024 to run on the AMR23 also threw the team off course. Before I tell you what the team's winter development will focus on, I want to let you know that over the Christmas holidays, we'll be releasing a 3-hour video on the complete history of Formula 1. Or at least as complete a history as you can give in 3 hours. We'll highlight some of the best seasons, the craziest technical developments, and the stories of the most famous racing drivers of each decade. We're super excited to share it with you all, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it when it drops. As the team prepares its car for next year, Alonso says designers must address the drag level to boost top speed and make the car sit in a wider operating window to take another step forward. He explained, "I think we need to find some consistency. Maybe one of the weak points was the car has to operate in a very narrow window. Having a very narrow operation window basically means that the car has to be set up within certain parameters to be drivable. Those parameters include things like ride height, front and rear downforce balance, and tyre temperature. Having a narrow operating window means that at some tracks, the car can be completely uncompetitive while being a podium contender at others, because at some tracks, you just won't be able to set up your car in a way that makes it fast. A narrow operating window plagued a number of teams in 2023, with Mercedes being another big sufferer." Alonso continued, "It's the same for everybody, with the ground effect cars proving particularly sensitive. But it seems that we're struggling a little bit, and it will be nice if we can always perform at a stable level next year. Also, if we can improve the straight line speed. I think that was, in performance numbers, our weakest point. Always a little bit too slow on the straights. If we want it to be as fast as the others, we have to drop too much rear wing. Then we ended up slow in the corners as well. So that was probably the loop that we could not get out of this season. Fortunately, the Spaniard thinks that a big part of the team's problems in 2023 was their forward-thinking approach to development. Alonso reckoned the narrow operating window was a result of the 2024 focused development, although those experiments have helped give the team a clearer direction for next season. He said, "I think it was a consequence a little bit of the development of the car. But as I said, it's the same for everybody when you try to extract the extra performance of the car. You need to sacrifice some areas to gain in others. So you start narrowing the window, but I think we have some ideas for next year as well, and everything should be better." With the team's development in 2023 focusing on 2024, we should expect another strong start from the team in British racing green. The sport will head into the third year of the current ground effect regulations next season, with the first two thoroughly dominated by Red Bull, which has won a staggering 38 of 44 Grand Prix. Red Bull's rivals have attempted to play catch-up with hit-and-miss success, as excellent performances and results on occasion have been punctuated by the car's failure to adapt to all circuits and conditions. Aston Martin team principal Mike Crack, though, does not feel there is a need to make a revolutionary leap forward in a bid to fight Red Bull. In contrast, however, Mercedes is due to unveil an all-new car after 2 years of struggle with its W13 and 14, whilst Ferrari is set to fundamentally change the architecture of its latest model. "When you have stable rules, the way we have now, teams will rather go evolutionary," said Crack. "If you have a standout car, as we have with Red Bull, a lot of people will try to go in that direction. On the other hand, we've heard from Ferrari, from Mercedes, that they will make very big changes, architectural changes, so we're curious to see what they're going to bring." Crack feels that if Aston Martin is to pursue owner Lawrence Stroll's aim of winning championships and races, then it has to improve on the operations side. Aston Martin let itself down at times regarding strategy, pit stops and overall reliability with its cars, which played a part in its slipping from second in the constructors' standings down to fifth by the end of the season. That was underlined during the Monaco Grand Prix when Fernando Alonso had a shot at victory, only for the team to make the wrong call on tyres in mixed conditions. I'm relentless in putting into everybody's minds that it's safety, reliability, operations first, said Crack. On the operational side, we have to be 100% in each session, in each event over the whole year, and if we do not manage that, then you cannot extract maximum performance, be it from the driver, the car, the setup, the engineers. We must guarantee that we have this box ticked, as we failed to do so on a couple of occasions this year. The team seems to be very optimistic about what they can achieve in 2024. They've identified what was wrong in 2023 and have been proactive about fixing it, including switching their development plans to focus on 2024 very early. With a new factory and design campus, the team has the most modern facilities in F1 and will continue to improve from where they are now. If they can continue to stay focused and find improvement, then they can be contenders for a world championship in the future. They have the right people in place to make that happen as well. In owner Lawrence Stroll, they have a ruthless realist who will make changes if needed, whether that means changing team principle as he has or investing millions in new facilities, and drive the team to success. In Mike Crack, they have a level-headed team leader who hasn't put a foot wrong so far. And in Fernando Alonso, they have a driver who can guide the design of next season's car into a race winner. The team also thinks that 2024 will be one of the most competitive seasons ever in Formula 1. Their performance director, Tom McCullough, cited qualifying for the final race of this year in Abu Dhabi, where 8 teams featured in the top 10, as a guide to the direction that the series is taking. If you look at the fact that there were 8 teams in the top 10 and how close qualifying was, that's phenomenal, isn't it really? He said. And it just shows you that with stable regulations, there's always an element of convergence. Some teams have developed really well this year, but I think they'd be the first to admit they started badly as well. So I think next year it's going to be fantastic for the sport. But what do you think the team will do in 2024? Will they be fantastic and compete with Red Bull for race wins? Or will they fall back into the clutches of the midfield again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our 3-hour video covering the complete history of F1. Until next time, drive safe and bye for now.